Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ancestors Writers Room. I am Shanga, and this is a project that is a podcast drama miniseries and an ancestral apprenticeship for artists in career and artists in life. So, in this video, I'm sharing a writer director commentary on the second episode of the podcast drama that was released. And that episode is called The Galactic Roots of Genocide. So, in this project, what I'm doing is while I'm releasing episodes, I'm also then going back to study the episodes and the stories that I wrote and unlock the ancestral teachings that are embedded in the storytelling. So, in this episode, looking at the galactic roots of genocide, I want to unlock an ancestral teaching that I'm calling Time is a Heartbeat. So, one question we're going to be covering through this series is like, what's the difference between a regular's writer's room and an ancestral writer's room? One big difference is time. Ancestral time is different than how we think about time in a capitalist society. Now, I'm laughing because it's just like one of my favorite topics to get really nerdy about is like the concept of time. Ancestral time is fascinating. And if you look back in some of my recent work, which I'll put the links in the below, yeah, I've covered different topics in the last recent while, like understanding time as geography, what happens when you get stuck in a time loop, and how do we get out of it. And I spoke about time as a heartbeat in one of my earlier podcast episodes too. So we're looking at like understanding these like quantum multiverse kind of concepts and philosophies about time and how they actually show up in our real lives, like how we can understand and see them move through our everyday lives. But so yeah, I talked about time as a heartbeat in an earlier podcast episode, but here I want to talk about another layer of what time as a heartbeat can mean. So in reference to this episode, The Galactic Roots of Genocide, I began this episode asking my ancestors' writer's room a question. What are the roots of genocide that, as we see on our planet today? Because if we can understand the roots, then maybe we can pull them out and plant something new. So, the ancestor that stepped forward to share a cosmic folktale that speaks to this question is, as we saw in that episode, a character named Lyra. So, in Lyra's memory, she says that the roots of genocide are way older than this planet Earth. Like genocide was around in the universe and the multiverse before Earth was even born. She remembers a time in the universe when everything was in balance, giving, receiving, life and death. She remembers a time when nobody even understood the concept of genocide. It was like unfathomable, like in the consciousness. And she says in this episode, I remember a time before genocide, or underneath it, or maybe that memory is deep within the heart of a broken heart, which is unbroken. Land that line for a minute, right? I love that line. And I want to zero in on that little phrase and open it up because it speaks to our concept of time, right? In a colonial consciousness, we only understand time as linear. There's a line and there's dots on the line, and we only ever move forward. But if we say linear time is the only kind of experience of reality, then you're erasing the ways that history continues to repeat itself. You're erasing the ways that your childhood trauma still exists today and is sitting in the room, probably like right next to you. And so is your childhood brilliance. The concept of only linear time also it erases our ancestors and their technologies, their magic. It disconnects us from our ancestral communication, and from the way the universe works. If you get into really understanding everything out in the cosmos, it doesn't work like that, right? So and then this concept, the colonial concept, intentionally makes us unable to see the multidimensional nature of the planet itself. Like those trees are portals, right? Rocks are storytellers, you know? And so we can't see the land fully in its multidimensional nature. We can't see our own gifts either. We can't see the ways that we are spiritually gifted, and carry wisdom traditions that traverse time, space, and dimension. And those wisdom traditions are sorely needed right now. And that's not to say that linear time isn't real. It's totally real. It's just not the only kind of time. Linear time is sacred. Linear time is about having a body. Linear time is you're born, then you live, then you die. That's sacred. So, when we're talking about the roots of the genocide, of some of the genocides that we're horrifically witnessing today, and we're saying, yeah, what are those roots, right? We'll look at colonization and land theft and resource extraction are some of the roots of why we're seeing genocide in Palestine and the Congo, and many places, including right under your feet, guarantee wherever you're sitting. It's about those things, right? Um, and colonization has attacked our minds and spirits by intentionally disconnecting us from the ancestors, from the multidimensional nature of the land and all the cosmos. And when we reconnect with that, colonization says, you're crazy. That doesn't exist. And I don't trust you for how you're connecting with your ancestors and how they experience time. So you see what's happening here? At the same time that colonization is telling you that linear time is the only kind of time that exists, it is simultaneously, aggressively attacking linear time and destroying linear time. It's destroying everybody's right to be born, to live, and to die on their own time through genocide, through colonization that egregiously disrespects linear time. And then the gaslighting into making you believe it's the only time that exists. Um, and and positing that those who know that it's not, should be ostracized, or not trusted, and that infiltrates into how we treat one another when we have, multidimensional experiences of life and reality. So this is a very strategic war tactic and intentional psychological abuse, right? But so if we conceptualize time differently, there's so much more to it than, it's the linear time is in there, but there's so much more, um, connected to it as well. And so what if we didn't see just a line? What if we saw that time is a shape kind of like this? What if it's a heart? What if time is a heart? And what if our experiences in life are heartbeats? And when we have an experience that resonates in that heartbeat reverberates through other places that it's connected to on those multiple timelines. So that means when genocide is happening in Palestine, that genocide also reverberates in South Africa and also on Turtle Island and also in the galaxies in ways we're not able to fully comprehend. So even if we're not materially, experiencing the exact same thing everywhere, like there's a trauma that activates. When one part of the body gets hit, another trauma gets activated, right? And so if we understand that, and then if we look back to what Lyra was saying, if there's a place before that, underneath it, somewhere around in this heartbeat, and maybe that place is deep within the heart, in the center of a broken heart, there is an unbroken in there, a place that remembers the planet and has experienced and continues to experience the universe as balanced, where nothing like genocide is ever occurring. If it's right here, then maybe we can reach it. If we can reach it, maybe we can learn from it. Maybe we can allow this to be our teacher right now. We can learn to listen and practice this every day. And maybe it'll tell you where your boundaries are. Maybe it'll reveal to you your true gifts today and then tomorrow and then the next day. Maybe it'll tell you where your energy is best served, what action to take today, when and how to rest and replenish, how to work through relationship wounds, how to break through impossible challenges, how to take responsibility and leadership in the places you are meant to, how to choose self-love and communal love, how to remember how your ancestors did things, how they do things here. Can we remember how they do things in this place? If we listen, it'll teach you to come home to a ceremonial way of life that will support you and everyone you care about. It'll teach you to remember how to be an earth steward because you live here, how to bolster your capacity to receive more love, release more grief, to take more purposeful risks, to be bold and adventurous and still safe. It'll teach you to walk away from things that you're done with, and how to walk toward being the best parent, friend, companion, partner, artist, creator that you are capable of being in this moment, and then tomorrow, and then the next day, and then the next. It'll teach you to receive the blessings that are right in front of you and dismantle everything in and around you that you thought was a cozy blanket when it was actually just a cage. It'll teach you to divest and invest, to repair and make reparations. It'll teach you everything about the big movements and the everyday small things. It'll teach you freedom. It'll teach you yourself. Maybe if we learn how to listen, you will teach it too, because that voice in you is ever so familiar. It's just a little foggy right now. If one of us can do it, maybe many of us can. And maybe we will. We will not only shut it down, we will also create a new place to live where genocide used to be.